Hi guys, my name is Pooja. I'm one of the co-hosts here at Gen Mobs. Here at Gen Mobs, we try to decipher day-to-day mob stuff in more like simpler terms and try to break it down for the general audience who is trying to get into mobs and preparing for for their first ever job or just try to understand what we actually do. And yeah, so I'm a marketing automation specialist here at Revenue Pulse. I've been in MOPS now for a little bit over 3 years. I'll pass it over to Lucas to give us a brief introduction, and then we have a surprise guest for you today.
All right, thanks a lot, Pooja. And for those of you that are watching us, remember to like and subscribe to our channel. We love your presence here. I'm Lucas. I'm the other co-host at Gen Mops, and I'm working with Mops for 5 years now, and I'm a director of marketing of AI and automation at Revenue Pulse. And today we have a very, very special guest that I'll let introduce himself. Welcome to stage, Daniel.
Hi, everyone. My name's Daniel Yan. I am a former marketing automation consultant, MarTech consultant, whatever you want to call it. These days, I'm the marketing automation manager at a company called Seven Shifts. So have worked with a bunch of the different marketing automation platforms for the past 7, 8 years now. I'm really excited to be part of the podcast and talking with you both.
We are so excited to have you here today, Daniel. Something
Yeah,
that
thank you for coming.
yeah, thank you for coming. Something that he did not mention is that he is a big, big, big plant lover. So if you ever need any tips on how to take care of your plants and not to, let them die, you can
We'll have
also.
to start a different podcast for that one.
But yeah, thank you so much again, Daniel, for making time out of your busy schedule and meeting with us today. To get us kick-started, I would like to talk to you about just to give us like a brief overview of like what are different orgs, like what is like an organizational structure and the different teams that you may or may not be working with as someone who is in MOPS.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think what you kind of learn about in school, if you've ever taken any courses, right? There's a lot of different marketing courses. So obviously, that's the main team that if you work in marketing automation, you'll be supporting. And you'll also probably be working with sales, most likely. And probably a little less common is supporting like a customer success or customer support team as well. But marketing is the entry into any company, right? It's how people find out about who you are and find out what your company is, what they do, what their brand is. So marketing touches on a lot of things, and marketing automation supports all of that. So although sales and maybe customer success support will be kind of the main teams that you'll support, uh, you'll probably be touching on a lot of the different parts of the business.
Thanks, Daniel. The next thing that we wanted to ask you is like, what do you think is a lead life cycle? Like, because I feel like that's a really like a big part of working in
Ooh.
marketing, where we are like always talking about leads or like prospects or like funnel and all that stuff. So yeah, tell us your thoughts about.
Oh, that's a loaded question. I feel like one of the answers that we give a lot as people work in MarTech or marketing automation specifically is like, it depends, right? Especially as consultants, it's always, it depends. Very much in this case, I think lead life cycle depends on what kind of business you are, and more importantly, what your customers or target audience are like. When we talk about lead life cycle, I think the traditional way to think about it is, how do we go from getting someone who knows nothing about your company or your business and slowly move them along through different marketing touches, sales touches, whatever it is, and convert them into buyers or whatever it is that your business is doing. So lead lifecycle will really depend on what your sales cycle looks like. It'll depend on what your kind of selling model is, what your product is, what your business is. I think the three of us, we all focus a lot on B2B businesses and not B2C as much. So just for context, the things that I'm talking about will probably also be a little bit more B2B focused as well. But yeah, I think that kind of at a high level covers what lead lifecycle is. It's going from anonymous to a buyer, customer. And that could have a lot of different stages. It could have very few stages. It really depends.
Yeah, that's true. We do say that a lot too, that it kind of depends. And it actually kind of depends on what you are doing and what your business is and all that stuff. So yeah. Sorry,
And it
Lucas.
also like, no, I was just going to say that it also adds up your previous answer, like all the areas that you support, they are also a part of that life cycle, right? Like marketing
Totally.
from the anonymous to become a client, then sales in that moment that the person is already like warm and wanting your product until they become a customer, and then customer care after they sign the deal. So
Yeah.
I think,
Yeah. I think we
that
talk
helps
about,
us.
we hear a lot about kind of the handshake between marketing and sales of, I think like the classic way to think about it is have you guys covered MQLs yet on the podcast?
No.
I feel like
No,
I'm
we
not going to get
haven't,
that.
but that's a good one.
Right, like there's so much terminology. That's probably like one of the biggest words that comes up, but there's always that like handshake of like marketing kind of starts, builds up the brand awareness, and I kind of, you've got ads out there and all these different things that start to get people familiar with the company. And then eventually when you get to the point where we think someone's ready to buy or commit, that's when you hand off to sales for some more pressure. But again, I feel like that's a very classic, maybe even old school way of thinking about marketing automation, about thinking about the lead life cycle, sales handoff nowadays. I mean, we're all buyers here, right?
Yeah.
Do we really operate like that? When was the last time you actually talked to a salesperson? Or, I'm sure all of us have gotten emails from sales and things like that. The technology has changed a lot. The way people buy has changed a lot. So lead lifecycle has really evolved. And I think that kind of journey that people think of as typical, like we just talked about it, right? I just mentioned like you go from anonymous to knowing a bit more about the company to eventually buying. That's not always how it happens now. A lot of consumers nowadays, whether you're in a business to business B2B or business to consumer B2C kind of organization, buyers have so much power. They're doing their own research. They're talking to other people nowadays, and it has really changed the way we think about a lead's life cycle.
Yeah, they probably would have compared you to like, I don't know, 5 or 4 competitors before
Watched 5 review videos on YouTube.
Oh, I'm reading all of the 1-star reviews first, like I want to know all of the horrible things people are saying first, and then I read the good ones.
That's a very bad guilty pleasure when I want to buy something. I do that too, and it's like 4.9 stars, and I'm reading the 1 stars, and I'm thinking, oh, this product is so bad. I don't want to buy this coffee machine because it makes so much noise. But like 2 people said it out of 5,000.
No, it totally, you want to see what other people are saying nowadays more than hearing it from a salesperson or hearing it in a marketing pitch, because if you're doing the marketing and sales for a company, obviously you're only going to say good things, right? You want to feel that authenticity, especially nowadays. So it's a big part of it's changed a lot of how we write our communications nowadays and how we talk to people.
Absolutely. Recapping a little bit, we were talking about the lead life cycle and how marketing operations support the marketing, the sales, and the customer care. And we usually use a marketing automation platform, a map. So would you care to explain to our audience what a map is, Daniel?
Oh, man. You guys are really putting me on the spot with this one. It's actually funny. I just did a little bit of a presentation.
I will literally put you on the spot right here.
Yeah, let's talk about a marketing automation platform. Anybody who, I guess they don't teach you this in school, right? Or at least it's been a while since I've been in school. Maybe they do nowadays. But
they don't.
If you get any emails, if you are buying clothing from, I don't know, Old Navy or something, and you get a coupon to your email, right? Like that's coming through a marketing automation platform. And we've got some pretty simple ones are, maybe I shouldn't say simple, but maybe just like it has less use cases, more focused on just email marketing. You have things like MailChimp that are just kind of like blasting out emails, to much more sophisticated platforms that are looking at all the different digital touch points that someone has. So when they're downloading content from your website, when they're visiting those different pages, what they're clicking on in their emails, right? All of those different touch points you can track within a marketing automation platform, and start to build out some very nuanced programs to basically determine exactly when and where you're going to be marketing to these people. So it's really it's a platform, it's technology that automates the process of reaching the right people at the right time with your marketing messages.
Perfect, amazing. Couldn't have said better. And I think the fun parts that usually you start working at a marketing automation platform even before you know that's it. Like you start
Totally.
thinking. I remember when I started in Marketo, I was like, okay, this is for sending emails and that's it. And I didn't understand why and all the other functions around it.
Yeah.
So hence is the follow-up question: why would a company buy a marketing automation platform, and why they would use it in their day-to-day?
Yeah, I think we kind of touched on it all a bit already, right? It's
Yeah.
the way the lead life cycle, the way that buyers are interacting with or engaging with companies, and the way that people buy things nowadays has changed so much. Just sending an email to someone about a sale or something like that is never enough. And in a lot of cases, it's kind of a turnoff, right? Like when you get a lot of messages from a company, if they're emailing me every week to try to sell me something, I'm sending you to spam. I'm unsubscribing. I'm blocking you, right? So I think a marketing automation platform, like we kind of talked about, like reaching the right people at the right time with the right messages, right? So marketing automation platforms give you that added level of complexity where you can really customize and figure out what audience you want to reach out to. You can really customize the exact message that you're sending, and most importantly, what time you're sending it. If people haven't opened your emails in over a month, maybe stop sending them, right? Like those are things to think about. And marketing automation platforms give you that power to make sure that there's a fine line we tread as marketers of trying to, well, obviously you want to sell someone. That's the end goal, right? We want someone to buy something, but how do you do that? Part of it is making sure that your marketing content is being helpful and not being pushy, that you're establishing yourself as a leader in the space, whether that's for software, you might want to be, the best kind of like technology. If it's a product, you want to be the best product. How are you positioning yourself like that at the right time with those people? Part of it, like, who you talk to and when you send them those messages, and the marketing automation platform gives you the power to not just have a list of X thousand emails, but to really think about who you're talking to and when you're talking to them and what you're saying.
Amazing, amazing. I remember a story when I started working with Marketo, and I was like in my first job, and this company was implementing Marketo around many different departments, and one of them that talked. And it's been already 1 year since I were there, and one of the departments that were talking to the customer were doing it through emails in Outlook directly, like
Oh yeah.
without any unsubscribe possibility, just like copy and pasting many email addresses in the CCO,
Oh
and
yeah.
and we were trying to convince them like to migrate that to Marketo. And what really tipped them to do that was that they figure out that they could know how many people were opening their emails and how
Yeah.
many, like, and use that information for more. It's like something that we take for granted nowadays, but like for people that are using directly in Outlook, that's something big.
That's
Oh yeah. That's
that's
so old school. I know there's still a lot of companies out there that are doing mail merges and taking a spreadsheet and then basically forwarding emails to everybody on that list. It's crazy how much that has evolved in just the past couple of years.
that's
Yeah.
insane. That is truly insane. Like to think of I don't know, like I have not, and that again shows that I'm pretty brand new to the industry, but I have not seen anybody so far in my experience use Outlook to reach out to people or like mail it. Like imagine all of them like BCC and then one of does like reply all and then they can see all the list of the people that are there. Like, I don't know. It just sounds recipe for a disaster.
Oh, I'm sure it's
Yeah.
happened. Yeah, it's definitely. I think that that's the classic way that email marketing used to work. But the landscape has changed so much, and now we've moved so far beyond just email marketing, right? Like conversational marketing was a big buzzword a few years back when chatbots became a thing. Now you go to any website,
Yeah.
everyone has a chatbot, but there was a time when that wasn't a thing. You had to go to the contact us, find a phone number, find an email, hope that they were online during those hours if you were going to call. Right now, everything's through a bot, which it can be frustrating sometimes because how many times do you just message a bot saying like, "Let me talk to a real person," like 5 times?
Yeah.
But you know, with AI becoming so much more prevalent, even that's changing now, and it's crazy to see how quickly the marketing technology is evolving to keep up with kind of the way that we want to be interacting with things.
Yeah.
To be completely honest, I hate when I go to a website and it has a chatbot. Like I want to leave immediately, especially when it does a noise, like when it does a bleep.
Oh yeah, yeah.
That's completely a turn off for me. It's like I don't want to buy
But
from
what
you
about
I
anymore.
know it's aggressive, but hey, there used to be a time when pop-up ads were a common thing, right? So
Yeah.
I'll I'll take a chatbot over going back to a good
One
old
that is
pop-up.
annoying is when you are like scrolling out of the page and the pop-up just appears and kind of block your way out. It's like,
Oh,
why are you doing that to me?
are you sure you want to leave? Yeah, yeah, I
Yes, I
want to go.
am.
But okay, what about personalized chatbots? Like, you know, when you go to a website where you have been before or like you had filled out a
Ooh,
form and then you revisit that website and then there's your name is there. It's like, oh, hello, Daniel. What are you looking for today or something?
yeah. I
Isn't
feel like
that a nice experience to have compared to just like,
hmm. See, again, I feel like I'm going to give you the marketing automation answer of like, it depends, right? Like, it depends what you're selling me. If this is I'm thinking like a subscription service, and there's a reason that you should know who I am and know about what I'm doing with your company, then I'm like, cool, okay, have it personalized. I don't have to enter in my account info every single time I want to talk to someone. I like that level of personalization, but if I'm going to be doing some online shopping and I get a chatbot that's like, you bought pants from us a month ago, do you want to get a matching shirt? I'm like, that's creepy. You know, like it really depends on what your business is, and again, like how does your audience want to be communicated with? Are they going to appreciate? Are you being helpful? Are you being creepy? It's a real fine line nowadays.
yeah, it is
And
indeed.
I do think since we are working on marketing operations, I feel so much more suspicious if someone knows my name. It's like if a chatbot comes up saying, "Hello, Lucas, we've missed you." I'm like seeing in my head like all the data workflows that it took to do that and all the systems
Yeah.
that are integrated, and I'm like, no, that's too much effort to know my name. Just shut up.
Like it's also I don't know I'm a person who sees it from a different perspective of like they're trying to give you like a personalized experience where they're like, hey, like, you know, you're not an unknown, like you are our customer, we know you, and you know, it's just like, I don't know, a heartwarming way of like, oh, like you were here before, like is there something else I can help you with? And like, okay, I would appreciate that if I'm going to like a support page asking for a help and that pops up and you know, it
Totally.
helps me like navigate it. But I also get the context of like I'm on a really random website and then it pops up and then you're like, no, this is not.
Yeah, like how did
It
you get
feels
this info? Why
sketchy.
do you know who I am? That's it can be weird, but no, I agree.
Yeah.
Like there's definitely moments where that personalized experience is nice to have. And I think about it too, like nowadays you buy a new laptop or something, like it asks you, do you want to have a personalized ad experience? And part of me
Yeah.
is always like, yeah, that's creepy. I don't want it. And then you start getting non-personalized ads, and it's like, why am I getting an ad for diapers and for like alcohol and for gambling? Like these are not things I'm into. Actually, yeah, maybe bring back the personalized ads. At least it doesn't annoy me.
Yeah.
Like we are derailing. I'll
I
share
know.
Alex's
Let's bring it
personal
back up.
experience before we go back to the normal conversation.
It's not
Like today, I'm working with a VPN like most days due to client work, and
Right.
sometimes I just forget to turn it off. But I'm in Brazil, and like my internet knows what I want to see as ads. And when I'm with the VPN on and I'm on YouTube, it starts showing videos and ads like buy this car. Like, no way, I would never see a car ad in my entire life. And it's all in English. And I'm like,
Yeah,
yeah, my VPN is on. I have to remove it. It's weird.
I know. And then it's like, then you get the creepy thing of when you like talk about something and then all of a sudden you start seeing ads for it.
yeah, that
Love
creeps
Oh,
me out all the
I
time.
know.
that.
I know.
Especially with TikTok. Like whenever I talk about certain topic with my friends or colleagues and then it pops up on my TikTok, I'm like, nope, this is interesting. This is creepy, but no.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it brings us like the power of these marketing automation platforms, and I mean that's going beyond just marketing automation. That's like those are social media tools and all these different things. But it's like you can know so much about people for now. I mean, we probably don't have enough time to get into the cookies and how that whole landscape might be changing soon. But we still have so much data on people, which I know some people find like creepy, terrifying. Our phones know us better than we know ourselves, right? Like if
Yeah.
you ask me what I ate 3 days ago or where I was a week ago, I don't know, but my phone does, right? It's that kind of thing where you have all that data on your hands, but like, what are you doing with it? Are you being helpful or are you being creepy? And it's a fine line that we really have to tread nowadays. Where before we really didn't know that much, and you just kind of sent out marketing messages in the
Yeah.
hope that maybe they were relevant. Now it's like, oh, maybe I'm being too relevant. Like they just visited that page or they just saw that topic. Should I be sending them an email about it so that they know I know where they've been? Like it's we've almost like gone too far to the other side.
Yeah.
And on the other hand, there are things that if you don't receive immediate confirmation, you feel sketchy. Like if I buy something on Amazon and I don't receive a confirmation email in 1 second, I'm like, was that a real Amazon site or is a fake landing page to steal my money? I'm checking my email like for the next 5 minutes waiting for it.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
we derailed a lot. I love the conversation. Going a little bit back to the marketing automation platform and people who are starting on it, if you were starting as a marketing operations specialist or consultant or whatever today, with all your knowledge, which marketing automation platform would you learn first, given you had a choice? Because you usually don't.
Yeah, you usually don't. To this day, back when I started with marketing automation, I got to give a shout out, not sponsored, not affiliated in any way with HubSpot, but HubSpot really is like the GOAT when it comes to education on what marketing automation is, and not just marketing automation, what email marketing is, what social media marketing is. Their HubSpot Academy series with like all the different, I don't know how much the digital certificates are worth because honestly anybody can do them. Like a 12-year-old could get all of the HubSpot certificates, but it gives such a great high level overview of a lot of the different marketing practices and technologies and things that you don't really learn about in a place like a marketing program in a university or college, right? Like, so it's such practical, hands-on. This is what marketers are doing day to day, and I really got to give a shout out to HubSpot for their content in terms of helping you learn it, and then having a platform that is very user friendly and easy to pick up. So it's a good start. And that's probably what I would pick. It's what I did back in the day, and it's what I would still recommend to people today. I don't know. What did you guys start with?
I
Go on.
don't know. I kind of started with all of them.
All of them.
Yeah. Like I feel like HubSpot was definitely like it had so much information. It was also like, for Marketo, like you need to talk to Marketo people to know like a lot of the
Oh
things.
yeah.
Like, oh, we have community, we have like this, we have that resource and all that stuff. Whereas HubSpot is like, you just search HubSpot something and everything just like comes up. Like it's so easy to like find information, read through it, like understand it. Like it's pretty, I feel like, beginner friendly.
Right.
Yeah, but I don't know, like, because since I might be biased though, but like I have worked in Marketo for a long time, so I'm like, I would recommend. I mean, HubSpot is a great tool to like understand like the basics, and then I
Right.
feel like Marketo is a tool that you should like spend more time learning and you know get the complexity of the things. Not to say that HubSpot cannot be complicated. Like if you're trying to build some complex stuff, like yeah, it can get crazy too. But
Yeah.
I think HubSpot takes very seriously the Pareto law that like the 80% of the things are take 20% of the effort. So like if you want to do a grade 8 something, it's very, very easy. But the last 20% takes the 80% of the effort, like.
yeah,
And
Totally.
that's fair, and it's a great tool. Actually, when I started working with Marketo, but most of my training was in HubSpot Academy because it was much, much better in terms of understanding what a marketing automation platform is and like
yeah.
Yeah.
why am I using this? Because Marketo, like back in the day, had Marketo University. I don't think it even exists anymore. I think it's dead.
I
No,
think
But
that
it
Marketo, if
was,
you're listening, bring that back and do a better job with your documentation.
yeah. But like bring it back like better because it was very, very weird for someone who never worked in marketing to try to understand what that all meant.
Yeah,
Like, don't start
yeah,
with what is a smart list. I don't,
I know. I know exactly.
don't
I,
know.
I think that's what I like about the HubSpot content is again, we kind of talked about like, is your marketing content helpful or is it like salesy and pushy? A lot of HubSpot's like educational HubSpot Academy stuff is not even strictly about HubSpot. It's very
yeah,
high level. What are these marketing concepts? And I think that's why I really like it as a starter thing because it helps to kind of understand things at that higher level before you dig into the really technical specifics of how do you actually do it. So I I really like HubSpot for that. But again, yeah, Marketo is what I work with today at Seven Shifts. It's what I think is like my favorite marketing automation platform, and I've worked in basically all of them. So, uh, yeah, when it comes to like you were saying, Lucas, like the possibilities of what you can do, I think Marketo is still such a strong contender in terms of like the technical capabilities.
Yeah, definitely. And but there is like just one thing that made me a little annoyed with HubSpot content, sometimes very annoyed, is that they have like this very idealistic view of marketing. Like,
Mm,
and we know that in the day to day, it's not always like that. Like
but then
people are
no.
not. People sometimes are pushy to sell in marketing too. Sometimes that's the strategy, and that's okay. Like they're always like build your community, and people want to learn from
Mhm.
you. And sometimes people don't even, but
Yeah.
that's all
Yeah.
right.
Speaking of, like, it's interesting now seeing, I think one of the strengths of Marketo as well is um, they've always, even from day one, been so focused on integration. Like, it's always been Salesforce as your CRM, which I feel like, I don't know the exact number. So this is not a statistic out there, but like 90% of companies or something use like Salesforce as their CRM, right? So having those integrations and having those different connections, I think is a major strength for the platform versus I mean, Salesforce is doing it themselves, HubSpot's doing it themselves. They're building their own versions of CRMs, their own versions of marketing automation platforms, and they want you just using only their products. And who does that, right?
yes,
Like, I think about your audience, think about these businesses, maybe a completely new business that's starting. It makes sense for them to be with one provider and one company only. But for everyone else, you're working with, we talk about like the tech stack, the different platforms that you're using. Being able to integrate is such a huge strength. And I think it's something Marketo does really, really well, both with its like built-in integrations and then with the custom things that you can make as well.
yeah.
The API is pretty strong. The webhook calls and all of that
Whoa,
makes
whoa, whoa! Look at
the really
API,
thing.
webhook. What are you saying?
No, yeah, yeah. Let's not go there. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. We even actually didn't explain what's Marketo and HubSpot, and we've been talking about it for a while now. So let's take a step back there.
Yes, yeah.
And Daniel, please explain to our amazing group of viewers here what is Marketo and HubSpot and its main differences.
Oh, the main differences. Well, Marketo and HubSpot are two of the most popular marketing automation platforms in the space right now. Marketo's being more of a kind of legacy company that's been around for quite a bit longer, and HubSpot's kind of a newer, fresher face in the space, and is really been blowing up lately, especially over the pandemic. But they're both tech platforms that at their core, as we talked about with marketing automation, it's all about getting the right message in front of the right people at the right time. So that's essentially what they both accomplish through primarily email still to this day, although we talked about chatbots, they have that, there's social media integrations, and there's all of these other touch points that both platforms allow you to integrate with and utilize in terms of getting your marketing messages out onto every place possible. Um, in terms of like what the key differences are, I think there's more similarities than differences. I wonder if you guys would agree, but having worked in both, they handle logic a little bit differently. Marketo's a bit more, you're putting numbers in brackets and you're thinking about logic and if you've ever taken a stats course or a logic course in math, right? Like 1 and 2 or 3 and 4, right? You're thinking about it in that way versus HubSpot's more, I think, user friendly in the sense that you build things like a flow chart, right? So I think to me that's kind of the core difference is how you approach that logic. But again, while the Marketo logic is more complex and less approachable, it also, because it's more complex, gives you so much more capabilities with what you are eventually able to do because you don't have to follow what that arrow is leading into. You have so many more options with what you are capable of doing. And I know HubSpot is having more of those capabilities nowadays. So I would say now more than ever, there's fewer differences in between the two platforms and more similarities in the way that they function. Going from one to the other, it's like you're learning a slightly different language, but the grammar and the structure of everything is still the same. So you're using slightly different words, it's slightly different, but overall, the way you communicate and the way you use that is still the same.
And I think, like, thinking about it, I do agree with you because when I migrated from one to another, I found myself doing it pretty quickly and getting extra annoyed when I expected something to be there and it wasn't because like I was
Yeah.
in the same mind, like I was in my Marketo mind inside HubSpot and I was expecting that I could schedule a workflow to run whenever I wanted.
Yeah.
But it turned out I can't. And it's like, why I can't? You do that every day. Oh, but it's a different platform. I'm just thinking with the same mind
Yep.
every time.
Yeah, there's always slight differences. Like, I don't know, there's so many different analogies for it. Like one of my favorites, I think, is like they're like two different kinds of cars, and the way you operate and drive a car is still the same, even if like the engine and all the parts and everything are different. One could be a Tesla, one could be like your beat up Honda Civic, but they're still cars, right? You still drive them the same. A lot of
Respect
things
Honda
are still
Civic.
both the same. Oh, totally. But yeah, it's and those are just two of the probably more popular players in the space, but shout outs to all of the other marketing automation platforms except Pardot. I have beef with Pardot. But yeah, shout outs to Pardot, Microsoft Dynamics, Salesforce Marketing Cloud. There's so many things out there, and I'm sure that's just the tip of the iceberg with what's out there in the space right now. But in terms of like the companies that, oh, shout out to Eloqua as well, I guess the OG.
Yeah.
They
I mean,
deserve it.
I know. They really kind of like set the precedent for how
Yeah.
we kind of operate in the space and kind of created a whole industry, and it's the reason the three of us have jobs today. So
Yeah.
shout out to Eloqua, shout out
Thank
to all
you.
the
So,
automation platforms. I know.
But wait, Daniel, tell us about your beef with Pardot. What happened
Yeah,
there?
we're just talking about how Marketo and HubSpot are more similar than they are different.
Yeah.
Pardot for me, it just feels so different. And I've worked with all the differences. It's kind of like what you were saying too, Lucas, of like, oh, you tried to do something in HubSpot because you would have done it in Marketo, but it functions a little bit differently. For me, Pardot feels like everything functions so differently.
or
Like
everything doesn't, just
or
doesn't.
everything does it. Hey, you never know where this podcast is going. We're not going to talk too much crap about.
Yeah, definitely.
But
We do
yeah,
have something for Pardot too later on planned. But yeah, go ahead.
oh, I mean, it is interesting, right? To see, yeah, I'll say that for your future. You guys can dig into it in the future episode, but there are certain things where I think like HubSpot probably makes the most sense when you think about. We talked about like high level. What are these different practices? When you actually go to build them out, I think HubSpot kind of provides you with great out of the box, kind of like follow the template, follow the cookie cutter way to do it. Versus Marketo is a little bit more like it's your sandbox. You gotta like a box of Legos with no instructions. You can build anything, but you kind of got to figure it out yourself.
Yeah.
So there's some differences there, but like getting your hands on Pardot for me, just I might be I don't might be I definitely am biased because I've worked with those other systems before. So Pardot just feels like just completely
It's
different.
Lego, but all the pieces are triangles. And you
Yeah.
have to figure out how to connect them, basically.
When
Like
you
all the
learn
shapes are
it, yeah. When you learn it, it does become, I think, like more intuitive and easy. But we kind of talked about earlier, like what marketing automation platform would you start with? Pardot is the one that I would say maybe don't start there because it works so differently from everything else. Versus like if you've learned Marketo, you can pick up HubSpot. If you've learned HubSpot, you can pick up Marketo. If you've learned either of those, you can pick up Salesforce Marketing Cloud. You can pick up Eloqua if you really want to, right? You might be going to like a legacy enterprise company that's still using that. So and some of them still do use Eloqua quite effectively. So it's easier to kind of translate and pick up those different platforms. If you're more familiar with those. With Pardot, you're going to feel like you're learning something completely new if you try to switch.
Yeah, I worked a little bit in Pardot this year, so I can see that. What you mean by it just feels completely different when you've been in platforms like Marketo or HubSpot, because yeah, it's totally different. Like with building a campaign, for example, or like email templates, it's just like a lot of differences there.
Yeah, the way things are organized and everything, like it's just
Folder structure is like it doesn't make sense sometimes.
a little bit weird. Anyways, enough talking crap about Pardot. Lucas, bring us back on track. What are we actually supposed to be talking about now?
let's do it. So we all do marketing with one end purpose: to get leads to sales and to, in the end, generate revenue. So sales has its own kind of sales automation platform, or how we would like to call it, CRMs, customer relationship management. So I would like you to explain then what is a CRM and what is the most common one, the most popular one. I think we talked a bit about it too.
Yeah. Like I said, I don't know the exact stats, but when it comes to CRMs, customer relationship management platforms, I'm pretty sure Salesforce is by far the largest, most popular, most used. Like I've worked with a lot of different companies who used a lot of different marketing automation platforms, but 99% of them all use Salesforce. What does Salesforce do? If you're working as a salesperson, what is customer relationship management? I feel like that's kind of actually a little bit of a misnomer because the majority of people in your CRM are probably not actually customers yet, right? It's a lot of leads. It's at its simplest a way to kind of organize the company's accounts, is what they're called in Salesforce, that you're selling to, and the people who are at those companies. So that would be leads or contacts. I feel like that could get pretty technical. We won't go into it too much, but it's basically a large database of different companies and the people at those companies. And then there's quite a few different things that you can tag onto that and build off of it. Marketo has done a great job of really aligning itself with the way that a Salesforce database operates. And that's why I think it's great to learn Marketo, because Salesforce is used everywhere, and the marketing automation platform that connects the best with Salesforce is, I confidently say, that's definitely Marketo still to this day. And the way that people are passed over when marketing is communicating with someone, has sent them emails, has shown them ads, has had chatbot conversations with someone, that can all get translated one-to-one into Salesforce, where now a salesperson can look at that and see what marketing communications has this person gotten. And they can get pretty granular at that level, or they can go higher level at this company. What are all the people at this company doing? Maybe there's different people visiting our website, someone's attended one of our events, someone's subscribed to our newsletter, whatever it is. They can see all those data points at an individual level for a specific person, but also at a company's level. And there's so much more that can go on from there. But it really is a database with all those touch points that can be passed to sales. So when they do reach out to these people, they're informed of what their kind of history is in terms of their interactions with with your company in terms of marketing and in terms of sales.
All right, amazing. Thank you so much, Daniel, and thank you so much for all the amazing answers that you gave us today and help these viewers understand better the world of marketing. Will you bring us home, Pooja?
Yeah, I was like, before we end, we do have a random question, Daniel, and we do this all the time. This is like not related to map or anything technical, but okay, so in your opinion, how many hours of screen time is acceptable?
Oh, that's a loaded question. I am guilty for this one. Can I say it depends again? Can that be my answer for everything? I joke a lot about being in this day and age where I go from like my my small, medium, and large screen, my large screen being my TV, my medium one being my monitor, and my small one being my phone, and you just bounce around between your three screens all day. How many hours of screen time is acceptable? As long as it doesn't ruin your life, I feel like it's acceptable. If you're going to sleep on time, if you're still going to your classes or still able to, do your job, that's fine. Do whatever you want.
16 hours? Would you say that's acceptable if you're still able to do all other things?
Looks like go outside and touch grass. What's wrong with you people? Get offline.
Yeah, stop watching this right now. You've been on screen for too long. Go and live life.
Yeah, okay, so sorry. I don't think I was like precise enough, but by screen time, I mean something that like the screen that you use outside of work. So like, after work, like I mean, I'm pretty guilty of this. Like I would spend 7 hours after work sometimes, like on different screens.
That's a full work day, Pooja.
It depends on the day. Like if I'm watching a show or something, and then it just
I'm disgusted right now. I'm sorry.
That's Gen Z for you. Like we are on our screens for a lot of the time.
Do the healthy thing. If you're happy, then you're fine. If you're on Instagram and you're getting the FOMO and feeling crap because people are living better lives than you probably had too much screen time. So yeah. It depends on each person. That's gonna be the answer for everything. If you guys ever bring me on, like I should just make that my new tagline. It depends.
It depends.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do feel it's easier for me to cope with the big screen after work than the small screen. Like I do not want to be at my phone after work. I just want to be like TV or no screens at all.
Wow.
That's brave.
That is. I feel like we're in an age where that's tough to do.
Yeah.
Really tough.
Yeah, I don't really like using my phone that much. So
okay, I already used my phone for apparently 6 hours today, so maybe I am guilty of being the same as Pooja, but
yeah, I feel like I'm the only sane one around here.
Probably.
Maybe
I'm
the
not even an iPad kid. How did it end up like this?
My average for phones, and I don't even like phones, like 3.5 hours to 4.
Okay,
Wow.
that's still a lot for
Just-
someone who is
yeah.
saying that they don't like phone.
Yeah. I feel like society brings us to our phones. Like it's just impossible to not be 4 hours a day in your phone.
Yeah, it is tough. That's how everyone stays in touch nowadays, right? It's just
Yeah.
you're not like a kid anymore where you go knock on your neighbor's door and say, is so and so free to go out and play? Like that's not how things work nowadays. So
I feel like we are way
scroll responsibly. If you get to the screen on TikTok where it's like, are your thumbs tired? Like that's it. Stop. Actually stop.
With that amazing thought, we'll finalize
Yeah.
today's video. So if someone got to the end, thank you so much. We'll see you in our next episode.
Thank you guys for having me. This was so much fun. I'm hopefully will be back for future episodes.
Thank you for hanging out with us today, Dan.